video with Ventura. She asked Ventura how many times Sean Combs had thrown her to the ground that way. She said too many to count. Throughout the freak-offs, Cassie said there were sessions. In between the sessions, she and Combs would take more drugs. Just every time, like before the actual high hit, I would feel like vomiting. It was usually like a normal thing. Johnson asked, would you vomit or would you just feel nauseous? Ventura responded, I would actually vomit, yeah.
The Diddy trial just got seriously disturbing, and people are asking, how was this hidden for so long? Casey's emotional testimony revealed threats, abuse, and shocking control tactics like freak-off tapes. How many people helped cover it up? With leaked videos, violent incidents, and a possible criminal network, things are spiraling fast. And it's only the beginning. The trial began with disturbing claims from Casey Ventura. She spoke about being stuck in a relationship that made her feel helpless and scared. She said there were private tapes, known as freak-off videos, that were used to scare her into doing what was asked. The threat wasn't just about her reputation, she was deeply afraid that even her mother might see those videos. The tapes were used as pressure, and she felt like she couldn't say no or walk away. This has become a key focus for the trial, showing just how much power those recordings may have had over her life. Casey said these so-called freak-offs weren't short events. They happened nearly every week and sometimes dragged on for 4 days straight. She described serious health problems from these long encounters. She had painful mouth sores that made it hard to eat or talk, and she kept getting tract infections that made everything uncomfortable. Even though she was clearly suffering, she said the events didn't stop. To get through it all, she used drugs. Something she called party favors, just to stop feeling the pain. Medical experts have noted that this kind of prolonged activity can cause lasting harm, especially when the body doesn't get time to rest and recover.
This 2016 hotel surveillance footage of Diddy beating Cassie has become a pivotal piece of evidence for the prosecution. E.T. was with Cassie just 1 day earlier, and it's pretty heartbreaking to hear her explain.
Casey's testimony also pointed to a very organized system that helped make these freak-offs happen. She explained how people from Diddy's company handled bookings, hotels, and security. Some hotels were even booked using fake names. During these events, security guards stood watch, and assistants helped arrange FaceTime calls so Diddy could see what was going on, even if he was out of town. The level of planning behind this shocked many, and the court is now looking closely at the money trail and messages that connect staff members to these events.
Comey, Matisse Steiner, Meredith Foster, Madison Smizer, and Christy Slavic for the government.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. You have Mark Agnifilo, Taney Garagos, Brian Steele, Alexandra Shapiro, and Jason Driscoll, and we're joined today by Mr. Combs. Good afternoon.
Things took another turn when the name Jonathan Audie came up. Back in 2018, he made headlines for a shooting at a Trump hotel, but now he's being linked to the freak-offs. His name and photo showed up in a binder of escorts, and he was described as one of the most regular participants. Audie's past claims about being involved in these sessions, and even saying he had slept with Casey, are now being taken more seriously, especially since he spoke about this before the lawsuit even began. The trial is expected to show tapes involving him, and 8 more men from escort agencies might also come forward. There was also a past mention of herpes, which could bring more health questions into the case.
Said she thought back to what she says she experienced, and she had these flashbacks. She says, I remember coming home to my children and my husband and looking at my husband and saying, you can do this without me. She describes walking into traffic. She then says, through the rehab, she started writing.
One moment in particular stood out when Casey talked about being at a club in Atlantic City where she was paid between $75,000 and $200,000 for an appearance. A man came up to her and said he had seen her tapes. She panicked and quickly texted Diddy, who gave her a strange reply: keep him close. What happened next was even more unsettling. She and a friend met with this man and a DJ in New York for dinner, but they were surrounded by bodyguards. It looked like the goal was to scare the man into staying quiet. This situation raises big questions. How did he get access to the tapes? How many people saw them, and were they really kept private at all? Now, the court is expected to look into who else might have been involved in sharing these recordings. Cent once said something that shocked a lot of people. He claimed that Diddy sent him a private tape involving Casey, and it wasn't just any kind of video, it was what he called a freak-off tape. He felt like Diddy was trying to pull him into something strange or maybe even dangerous. This wasn't part of any lawsuit or legal case back then, but now that so much has come out, that story is starting to make more sense. If this really happened to him, then how many other people in the industry also got tapes like that? And if they did, what did they do with them? This adds to the growing belief that Diddy may have been using things like this to control people. What's especially strange is that 50 Cent talked about it long before Casey ever filed her lawsuit, which makes some people think that these kinds of actions might have been going on for a long time, possibly with others looking the other way.
TMZ has obtained never-before-published footage of Diddy and Cassie in November 2017 at a tropical villa in Punta Mita, Mexico, where they were filmed having some fun under the sun.
One part of the trial that's deeply troubling is the story Casey told about being attacked at home. She said she was asleep when Diddy suddenly came right into the room and started beating her without any warning. The injuries were so bad that she needed plastic surgery, especially for a large cut on her forehead. Two people she trusted tried to help her, but they couldn't stop the attack. What's even worse is that after it was over, one of Diddy's security team members helped get her medical care. But in secret, like they wanted it all to go away quietly. And when she sent Diddy a photo of her injured face, the message she got back was cold and heartless. In court, this moment is likely to be a big turning point, especially if the prosecution uses photos, medical reports, or even the people who tried to help her back up her story. Another part that really stood out was Casey's description of her 29th birthday. You'd expect a birthday to be full of joy, right? Especially with a big surprise party, close friends, and fancy decorations, right? But for her, it quickly turned into something else. Right after the celebration, Diddy told her she had to take part in one of those so-called freak-offs. She didn't want to. She was in pain, she had sores in her mouth, and she was sick, but she says security still forced her to go. There are reports that she was made to take part in these kinds of acts every week, and sometimes they would go on for days. On her birthday, no less. That kind of emotional switch, from being treated nicely in front of others to being forced into something terrifying, is incredibly damaging. If there were people at the party who saw what happened next, the court may hear from them too. Inside the courtroom, the pressure is building. The judge isn't letting Diddy's lawyers slow things down or make it hard for witnesses to speak freely. They even tried to stop people from getting legal help, but that didn't work. The judge is keeping everything moving, especially since Casey is 8.5 months pregnant and could go into labor at any time. Let us know about your views in the comments, and for more such amazing videos, make sure you subscribe to our channel.